Madin Mazimba, I'm back again with another album review, and today I'm reviewing Take Back the Land by Sharky Sokoma Temai. So Sharky had a very good 2016. He released his debut album titled Sokoma Temai, and it was well received by a lot of people. I did a review for that album. You can scroll down on my previous videos and watch the review. And you know what? I enjoyed that album. And at the end of the year, it was the award season. The album won the Best Hip Hop Award for 2016 and definitely deserved that gong. Now this year, on the anniversary of Sokoma Temai, Sharky surprised us all with the second album titled Take Back the Land, and was very much happy because I enjoyed Sharky's last album a lot, so I wanted to see how he was going to progress from Sokoma Temai. So when he dropped this second album, I was very much looking forward to it. Now, from the moment I heard the title Take Back the Land, you know what, I felt you can just see this album is going to go on a political route, and I was very much looking forward to see how political is Sharky willing to get, or how political does he get now on this album. So I bought my copy, started listening to the album, and I have to say the album is not really as political as the title suggests. In that way, the title is a bit misleading. Yes, there are a couple of political tracks towards the end, I think 3 tracks. And another thing that I picked out when I started listening to this album is that it contains less tracks than last year's album, and that's something I really commend, because I feel as if a lot of hip-hop artists, they give you albums with 23 tracks, 18 tracks, 19 tracks, and if you really listen to the album, go deep with the album, you'll find out maybe only 12 tracks have substance and all these other tracks are fillers. So I really prefer when the artists go straight to the point. They just go to the point they want to address, they want to highlight or share with us. So I really enjoyed the fact that this album had a fewer songs, and that meant there are no fillers on this album. Sharky just went straight to the point, talked about the issues that he wanted to talk about, and the album as a whole becomes more compact, more solid, and more enjoyable to listen to. So the first 4 tracks of the album, which constitutes like a third of the album, Sharky is more on a bragging kind of tip, and for someone who dominated hip hop last year, this is something to be expected. He was definitely going to sing about his achievements. Now on track number 1, titled King, it starts with an interview. I'm not sure who's talking on that interview, but the guy is just saying, Sharky is definitely going to be one of the biggest top 5 rappers on the continent. That's quite a bold proclamation, but Sharky is definitely a good rapper, so I don't doubt it that much. But on this track, he went on to say, I'm the king right here. I dominate. I'm at the top of the hip hop game. Looking at his achievements from last year, this is quite understandable. I love the production of this track. It's a very daring track. Now, the second track is titled Number 2. Now, on this track, this is aimed at those people who said, last year, Shakaka Juma, and it's just reminding them, Kuti, this second album I'm giving you now, Take Back the Land, is going to shut it down. This album is going to make you believe, Kuti, I'm not a fluke. I'm here to stay, and I'm definitely good. And from the production of this track, you can feel it borrows a lot from Drake's. Started from the bottom in terms of the production and the structure of the track, but regardless, the track is sounding quite good. Then we go to track number 3, which is Henaro. Now on this track, Sharky is just saying, I got too much sauce, I got too much swag, I got too much talent for you to ignore me. You cannot ignore me. I'm just that good. And on this track, I love the way he seamlessly switched from the deep Shona to English. It was just done quite well. And towards the end, I love this humming, this chanting part they inserted towards the end. And on track number 4, which is titled Home, featuring Italist. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it. But this is a beast of a track. I'm a big fan of this track. Another thing that I love about this track is that Sharky is tackling a lot of issues. He's answering the fans, all those fans who will be saying, Zimbabwe, hip hop is dead, and it's just saying, if you say there's no hip hop, anyone who says that, just direct them to Sharky Sokoma Temai, and I'll do the answering for you. And for those people who say, hip hop was much better back in the days, where he's saying, how was it better back in the days when I was not there? And that's a response to all those people who usually say that. And also on top of that, he took a number of shots at the so-called big guys in the industry, those who claim that they're pushing hip-hop forward, where he's saying, I respect your perseverance, I respect your hustle, but your current product, the tracks that you are releasing, the tracks that you're putting out, they're not really matching up to what you are saying. So that's quite daring, and I think a number of people will be moved by what he was saying. The number of people feel attacked by that, but that's good for hip-hop. It makes gives it this bit of competition, and the production of this track is just on point. I love the dancehall kind of feel that this track has. It gives it a gangster feel, and which is definitely perfect for this kind of thing. And after that, Sharky gave us 2 love songs, something which I did not expect from Sharky. This was quite a welcomed surprise on the tracks Make Up Your Mind and Side to Side. Now, I love the production of Make Up Your Mind. The keyboard work is done very well. The overall production, the track is so wavy, it gets you into this introspective mood, which I love. And on this track, he's just saying, make up your mind. You cannot be saying this today and tomorrow you're saying another thing. Just make up your mind. Decide what you want. Do you want me or don't you want me? And also, going to the second verse, you see that theme also in a way applies to him when he's saying, I know I've done a lot of mistakes, I've did a lot of bad choices, but I'm willing to make up for it. So it's a track, given the sort of relationships that are happening all around us, people are just in there for the benefits, for this, for that. So it more applies in a way you're just telling that person, could not make up your mind. Do you want me or don't you want me? So it's definitely a lovely, lovely gem. And on the other track, Side to Side, on this track, Sharky is just talking about that girl who's just mesmerizing, that girl who just took over, his attention. That person aita kuti Sharky afunge kuti, I no longer want to be single, I no longer want to be a bachelor. So it's quite a lovely track. It's a light track. I love the production. The bass line is done well. Sharky was in a playful mode, and it definitely fits the theme of this track very, very well. So from there, the album switches to a social commentary tip, starting with the track Kwete. Now this is a very, very interesting track. I enjoy how refreshing the instrumental is. It's quite different. It's quite unique. It's one of those experiments whereby you're looking for beauty in mismatch, beauty in a place where there seems to be no order. And because if you look at the way Sharky arranges his lyrics and couple that with how different the instrumental is, it just gives you one unique and refreshing kind of listen. Now on this track, Sharky is just urging people to be united, to help each other when we fall into troubles, and I love that he explained that using some of the traditional proverbs that you used, like the first one, which is quite true, kuti, someone else's problems will not stop you living your life. But that saying is in a way promotes selfishness. And Sharky, countered that with another traditional proverb, which says, meaning, when someone falls into trouble, we help each other, So it's one of those tracks that just edges unity among us in our societies. And just, like I said, I love the production on this track. And the last part, it sort of gets you into these trends. I just love the production on this track. Then next we got the track Number Kuzwa. And this is a soulful mellow and chill track. I love the guitar work on this track, but it just ushers you from the beginning to the end. It's just made so well, and the whole other instruments, they are arranged in a way that they complement this lovely guitar work. And on this track, Sharky is just urging people to listen to advice. Let's not be hard-headed. Let's not be that much set in our ways to an extent that we do and make decisions that ruin our futures, ruin our lives, because that's not going to. And also after this track, it's where I feel maybe the track Family should have come. But now on the track Family, I love how Sharky arranged, structured this track. First of all, the instrumental is purely, it's only mbira that's playing in the background. So it's definitely traditional, and it fits perfectly Sharky's type of rapping, that one, and stuff. And on top of that, what I love most about this track is how he structured his lyrics. He's talking from three different perspectives on this track. If you listen to the first verse, it's a wife who's complaining to his husband, you're eating all the money, you're neglecting your children, you're neglecting your family. There's nothing more for me to stay for at this house, because it's more like a panababa. So she's just complaining to her husband, crying to her husband, change your ways. Then you go to the second verse. The second verse is now the husband. The husband is more like, acknowledging that he was wrong, he was doing the wrong things, and he's asking for forgiveness from his wife. From now on, I'm going to change my ways. I'm going to be a better person. I'm going to start sitting down with you, planning so that we have somewhere we'll go as a family. Then we go to the third verse, and the third verse, it's now from the perspective of Sharky, where he's saying, now, growing up in a society where we see such things, the husbands, they go out, they squander all the money, the wives are always crying and complaining. He's just now wondering, what kind of father will I be when I get married, if he ever gets married? Because with what he's seeing, it's not something that really inspiring him, to be a father. So he's just questioning himself, what kind of father am I? And as he's going to end this verse, he kind of vows to himself, if I then become a father, I'm going to be the best person. I'm going to be a supportive father. I'm going to be a father that's there and helps his family go to the next level. Then the biggest surprise this album had, besides the love songs, is the track Ndarira. Now, for hip-hop guys, I don't think many of people definitely pull out, putting a mbira instrumental in your album as one track. I think a lot of people just pass and say, Jiti. But for Sharky, the image is cultivated over the years. And I always wondered, can Sharky really play the mbira? Or maybe it's just for the image, the beats, the African attire, the mbira just fits the traditional theme. And on this album, he just answered that question. He plays it beautifully. It's a lovely, lovely instrumental. One of those tracks that just serenades you. And in a way, where the track is really stationed on this album, it bridges the gap. Now we're going into the more political kind of charged songs, those tracks that really live up to the title of this album. And one of those tracks is Issa Melanin. And on this track, Sharky is just highlighting the disadvantages, the challenges that were brought onto us because of colonization. Everything was taken away from us. They said us as a disadvantage. So it's more like a handicap kind of rest, because since we are starting from absolutely nothing, we have to change a lot from our mindsets. A lot of aspects of our life, were changed because of colonization. So Sharky is just saying, you know what, with the way we think, with the way we were conditioned, it's going to be very hard for us to make something that's really lasting for our families, for our future families. So it's a track that's just highlighting Kuti. There are some of those challenges that we overlook, we don't talk about, are those fundamental disadvantages that are within us that we need to tackle first before, you know, we can create a stable platform that we can pass on to future generations. So the next track is Far Away, and on this track Sharky really went deep on that political tip. And you know what, he's talking about the alarming rate of inequality that is happening all around us, the alarming rate of nepotism, corruption that is happening all around us, and making the playing field unequal, you know what, for the people of Zimbabwe. Because for a lot of the youth of this country, you know, our dreams, everything that we wanted to do is now far away, because these guys on power, they don't really care about us. You know what, when you go towards the election season, they just use us toy. After that, they just drop you Magadaro. They don't really care about your futures, and everything that you wanted is now out of reach. You know, Tango Sara Nezhiroto, you just hope, I wish I wish to do this, but because of what's happening, because of, you know, these widespread unequal and unethical practices that are happening all around us, it's not very, very hard for us, the youth, you know, to really make up to really build something that's solid. It's definitely something more. It invokes something, it invokes that passion. You know what, this is not good, we need to change. There is need for change, and that takes us to the last track, if you can even call it a track. It's more like a vent. You know, Sharky is just venting it all out on this last vent titled, you know, Take Back the Land. Now, on the previous track, Sharky was more like highlighting the challenges that all of us are seeing, all of us, the ordinary youth people, the ordinary youthies of this era are seeing all around us. Then on this last track is now urging us all to take action. You know what, our futures are being destroyed, so we have to take back our jobs, we have to take back our land. You know, we have to do something, we have to be, you know, to take action so that we can have our future in our hands. So this is definitely something that I urge a lot of people, artists, to do. You know, urge the youth is, you know, we need to take control of our future, we need to take control of our destinies, because everything will just fall apart. So as we go, maybe with next year going to the elections, everyone, you must go register and vote. Make sure you play a part. Let's take action. Let's not be the people but we need to encourage each other. Let's stand up, let's take action, let's take back our futures. So this is definitely a very, very emotionally charged track, and I love Sharky's performance on this track. You know, there's not even an instrumental. This track did not even need an instrumental. Like I said, it's not really a track, it's more like a vent. And at the end, towards the end, you know, it just cools down. You get a mellow keyboard, this mellow keyboard progression that goes in the end, you know. And you can see, after all that ranting, sometimes you need to cool down, you need, you know, to have a level head. Think, okay, if we're going to take action, what action are we supposed to take? How are we supposed to take that action? So I just love how the track mellows out at the end. And you know what, his closing words, where he's saying, you know what, most of us we are born free, but really in life there's really nothing for free. And that born free status, we have all these problems that we have today because we just take a lot of things for granted. We should not definitely do that. And you know, that just signs off from the album. So you know, as you can see, I definitely enjoyed this album. This is a very, very solid album. If you ask me, it's way better than last year's Sokoma Tema, but this album is straight to the point. You know, whenever he's talking about a certain issue, Sharky was definitely on point. There's no filler track, there's no track that does not belong to this album. Everything was just made quite well. You know, the production overall was done very well. Sharky's performance is solid, sublime all over this album. The themes, they're also done very well. So definitely an album I recommend to everyone. As of now, I can say this is the best album I've listened to in Zim hip hop. You know what, to date, there's no other album that really can equate to this album in terms of production quality. You know, everything is just solid, it's just well made. It's a fantastic album. And you know what, now, you know, it's just me nitpicking here, but if there are any things that I may complain about, is the number of tracks, you know, where he's just bragging. If you look at this album, yes, tracks like Henaro, it's a lovely track. Home, it's a superb track. King on number 2. But I hope going into his next albums, you know, he does not concentrate more on those bragging kind of tracks. You know, he's just telling us about maybe his awards, what he's do, how good he is. You know what, let him give us those tracks like Far Away. Ekuti Tega is the fans who just say, you know what, Sharky Agakora. So this is a very fantastic album. And on my overall rating for this album, I give this album an A. It's definitely the best hip hop album I've listened to this year. I enjoyed it that much and I highly recommend it to you. So you know what, you can buy the album. I'll post the link below in the description. Also, if you've enjoyed this album, you know what, before I go, you know what, tell me what you think about the album. Tell me your thoughts, your views, your favorite tracks, and what you think in overall about this album. Go in the comment section, tell me what you think. And to end it all, don't forget to give me a like on the like button down below. Subscribe to the channel. See you again next time.
Born free. Born free? What does it even mean?